Since my last session, the painting has had a chance to dry, and maybe you can judge better now how effectively the changes that I made to the perch and the background work. I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the painting, show you some of the details that unfortunately were out of the frame when I was painting them the other day. So here's the bird, and let me see if I can get the subtle details that I painted in with my little grainer, the rake, to show up. They're a little out of focus, but right in this area there are some subtle dark areas, and in the cheek and the throat there are some others, and through the breast there are yet more of them. And it is quite subtle. Probably the best place to see them, since my camera wants to focus on the eye, is in the throat. Let me back up and see if I can zoom in a little bit with more luck. That's a little bit better. Now you can maybe see it in the throat. There you go. There are some fine passages right in here, and again over here, and down here on the breast there's some subtle brushwork, and again on the flanks. And then zooming back out, you can see the work that I did on the perch. As I said the other day, the white passages are probably a little bit too stark, and I think that the feet are a little too, they stand out too much too, so I think all of that could stand to be toned down a little bit. And then the background, you can maybe see the subtle violet starting at the top of the painting and coming down to about here before it fades out into the same palette that I used in the first place, the warmer tones. So that's where we are. A few things that I have noticed that still need a little bit of work. These feathers right in here have kind of a wash of the burnt sienna type color, the warmer tones. It's very subtle, and then on these feathers here, especially towards the upper parts of them, it again has the warmer tones in it, and there's a little bit in these feathers too. So I think I'm gonna work on that a little bit, and I'm gonna work on adding texture and trying to finish up the perch. I think that'll be a good target for today. Here on the tail, maybe you can see where I reclaimed the white. That worked out pretty well. Again, that was unfortunately done out of the view of the camera. I'm learning all of this stuff with the video. I apologize for the hiccups, but hopefully I'm improving, and I can't go back and repaint what I've already painted. So the best I can do is to try to guide you through what I've done here. So I hope that's adequate. All right, so I'm going to put away the close-up camera and figure out a plan of attack for what I just said I would do. I think I'm going to start by working on these feathers here and these feathers here. This whole area, warm that up just a little bit, and I'm gonna use a medium-sized brush. I think I will use my This is my number 4. My number 4 round sable. That's this one right here. Can I get it to focus? There you go. So that's my number 4 round, and I'm gonna use straight burnt sienna right out of the palette, and I want it to be nice and liquid because I don't want it to be too strong. These areas that I'm working on it's very subtle, and it's kind of variegated. There's a little bit of the warm tones, and there's a fair amount of the white or near white. And I also want to try to avoid reactivating the more neutral gray, because I really don't want to be sullying what I'm doing here. I want to try to keep the colors as pure as possible. There's a little bit right here. Right on down to there. And that kind of fades out. Using my thirsty brush again, I'm going to kind of push these edges back, soften that whole area up. That's good. I like that. It's quite subtle. And there's just a tinge of the burnt sienna on these feathers. Just the slightest suggestion. And again, I'm going to just drop a little bit of clear water in here so that the hard edges of what I just painted get softened. Pick that up a little bit with my paper towel. That's good, I like it. There's just a little blush of warmth here, probably reflected light. It's very subtle. I think I'll use the raw sienna for this, and again I want to be really liquid. There's a little bit right on the rump, and it carries down into the flanks. And that's a little overstated, but that's okay. It's not bad, actually. I drop a little bit of water in to dilute the whole passage and soften the edges. That looks excellent. I think it could actually use just a little bit more right in here. I love reflected light. Reflected light is light that's bouncing off of other surfaces. In this case, it would almost certainly be bouncing off the perch. How much reflected light there is depends obviously on how much light there is and how reflective the surface is. Sometimes it's very evident, other times it's extremely subtle. This is one of the latter cases. There's just a little hint of warmth on the breast here too. thirsty brush to lift it. Excellent. I like it. Anywhere else? Yeah, actually there's a little bit of warmth right on the throat, the chin, right underneath the bird's bill, and perhaps on the under part of the eye too. That's way too much, but that's okay. A little bit of water. Distribute it a little bit. And then use my thirsty brush to wick up all the excess. That's more like it. It's still a little strong. That's better. There, that's nice. Those subtle little touches, they can add an awful lot to the effectiveness of the whole painting. All right, so let's move on to the perch. First thing I want to do is to kill some of these whites, and I'm going to do that by just using water and reactivating the paint that's already there and pulling it from one place into the other. Once I've started to see some color, it's quite easy to just pull it from one part of the painting to another. I'm going to do the same thing down here. This white edge is a little overdone. I kind of like having just a fine bright edge there to separate the perch from the background, but this is definitely too much the way that it was. Now that's still a little stark. Let's try dropping a little bit of water, a little bit of pigment in there. I'm going back to my ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Oh, you can't see what's going on here, can you? I'm sorry. Let's see if I can get that into the field of view. There we are. So now I'm picking up some of my ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and again I want it to be quite liquid because I don't want to make a really strong statement. So what I was saying was that I kind of like the white edge, but not quite so much of it. That's better. Softening the edge of the dark passage that is a little hard. That's better. Okay, so now that's good for the moment. I also, you may have missed, I dragged a little bit of paint into these two white streaks here to push them back a little bit. I'm going to now go to this area right here. This is there's way too much white there. That's really a little warmer than what I've got, and it's all mid-tones, so that takes care of the over brightness of it. I'm going to work my brush over the darker passages that I painted previously. I'm scrubbing, but I'm scrubbing with a soft sable brush, so it's not a very effective scrubber, but for these purposes, I think it's fine. What I'm doing here is making this whole passage a more uniform kind of mid-tone, mid-value. And now I'm going to float a little bit of burnt sienna into it to warm it up. I think that's getting kissed by a little bit of sun. That's better. All right, now I'm gonna kill a little bit of this white. I want to leave some of it, but I don't want nearly as much as there is now. Burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. I'm going to try a little bit of my bluer mix of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, because there are some cool passages here. In my photograph that I haven't painted into this. So far I've stayed fairly uniformly neutral gray, but there's a little bit of a bluer cast there and a little bit right in here. Good. And here the kind of squiggly brushwork works quite nicely to suggest the uneven texture of the perch. All right, I think that's a good place to stop on the perch for now, because I think the next thing that I want to do, the next couple of things in that area, one is to push the feet back a little bit. They're too bright, they call too much attention to themselves. And the other is to continue developing the texture of the perch. And it's too wet to do either one of those. If I try to do either one right now, I'm going to make a mess of both of them.